Here we go.
Okay. Well, hello, viewers. Welcome to Planet Marzipan, Sunday Live-ish.
Well,
Um,
ish,
ish, yeah.
ish.
This happened about 50 minutes ago, but yeah, live. Um,
You've heard of fish on Friday. This is shite on Sunday.
it is, yeah, yeah. I'm Mezza. He's Faye.
No, I'm Craig today.
Oh, you Craig, all
Look,
right.
it even says it on the screen somewhere.
All right, okay. He's Craig, and we are here with a few things to talk about, really. Mainly to give you a bit of a review of the Candacraig gig from Lincoln last Thursday with the retelling of Brave and the Candacraig set, which I went to, I was lucky enough to go to. A few things. I personally have had a very nice gig week with three gigs.
You've
Uh,
had a ridiculously busy gig week.
yeah, it's nice, like buses. Did nothing for ages, but they all come along at once. And then we've got a few sort of bits to chat about at the end about what's happening in Marillo world, haven't we?
Yeah, just a few bits.
And talk to you about our next four episodes that are coming out.
Five.
Five, all right. Four,
Yeah.
five. Anyhow, where shall we start?
At the very beginning, I've heard
At
it's a
the
very
very
good place to
beginning.
start.
Okay, so those of you that listen to all our episodes will know that we interviewed Sharon and Martin from Candacraig probably about 2 months ago now.
It's something like that. It only
Yeah.
feels like 2 minutes ago, but you know the way
Yeah.
that things are flying past.
And we had a lovely chat with them about the history of the band and their planned then upcoming gigs where they were going to do a first set of Candacraig and a second set of the complete retelling of the Brave album. With Candacraig are normally a duo, Martin and Sharon, but for this they were expanding to a five-piece with a drummer, a bassist, and a keyboard player. So it was a pretty unique opportunity to see this. The first gig was in Kidderminster last week, as we're talking to you now on Thursday, and then the second gig, which I went to, was at Southside in Lincoln. Southside is a beautiful venue. It is a converted church. I'm just gonna. It was formerly St. Catherine's Church, and it's now called St. Catherine's Hall, but known as Southside. It's a fantastic venue. It really is. If you get the chance to go, I would heartily recommend it. But it's a church. It's a converted church, but with fantastic facilities. Um, Candacraig was set up in there. I think it was nice to see some of the usual Marillion faces there. So some of the Marillo crowd were there. Apologies if I don't name check you. I didn't catch everybody's name, but we all had sort of had a chat together. And then there were, because Candacraig kind of come from that area, there were some local supporters of Candacraig in, which was really nice to see as well. A select crowd, I would have to say. The gig, as I say, was in two parts. I'm going to put my specs on because I've got a set list somewhere. But just to name check the band, it was Kit Marsden on keyboards, Dan McGlade on bass, and Dan Hudson on drums, with Sharon on vocals and keyboards and Martin playing lead guitar. Um, but yeah, I'd seen Candacraig at Prog Festival in Leeds a few weeks ago, where they
Yeah, that
performed.
was about 2 weeks or so ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, performed as a duo, and that was great. But to see them with the full power of the five-piece band was really good, really good. They played first set of Gliding, Last Transmission, Autumn in New York, Fortune Favors the Brave, Oh Whistle, End of the World, Crow Harvest, and Fearless. But the sound, the sound of the five piece is amazing. They're really, really good. I mean, you like the album, don't you? The second album.
Yeah, no, yeah, the second album's great.
Um, but to see them in this space with a five-piece band was brilliant. It's a shame that financial constraints mean they don't do that very often. But such a powerful sound. So that was a first set. Um, I have to say the stage was there was a lot of equipment on the stage, and they'd set it up with a huge screen at the back, which had back projections on, which in the first half were great, but in the second half really became part of the show. Um, so in the second half, we just got a complete retelling of Brave, with Sharon acting out the part, certainly, um, interacting with the screen behind as well as some really clever interactions. It's a shame the crowd wasn't bigger. It really is. I heartily recommend this show to fans of Marillion. It was so good, so good. Different from the Brave album because you've got a female singer, you know.
And it's a reinterpretation, isn't it? So
It is a reinterpretation. It was fairly true to the original, I would say. They didn't sort of do any radically different arrangements, but it was just great to see it with a female singer and the bass player. What was his name? I'm sorry, I've just read it out, haven't I? I should have that. Um, Dan McGlade on bass sang Hollow Man.
oh,
Because
okay.
obviously that wouldn't work as a female vocalist. So yeah, Dan sang Hollow Man. And there was a real nice twist at the end. They played the spiral ending to Great Escape,
Okay.
but then did Made Again. So Sharon announced from the stage, for all you vinyl fans, you got both endings of the album. It was really good. It was really good. And it was interesting to see who knew the album and who didn't. So there were clearly some fans of Candacraig that were. I mean, I was chatting with a couple who were big fans of Candacraig but didn't know the album at all. And there were pockets of people in the crowd who really knew the album, and we were sort of singing the words and hanging on everything that was happening, and others who were just sort of taking it in because they didn't know the album. Um, but as an audio and a visual presentation, it was stunning. It really was. It must have taken such a lot of work. Um, and it's a
I'm
shame.
just, yeah, I'm just really, really sad that I didn't get a chance to see it, and I won't get a chance to see it just because of the timings. It's something I really wanted to see.
Yeah, and I think because of, I mean, I understand why the band are doing the gigs on a Thursday because they've got their main income from the other musical acts that they do at a weekend. But that limits the audience in a way. If you're local to the gigs, then presumably you go. Not that I was local. It's a 2 hour drive to Lincoln from here, as I found out. Um, but again, it was over at a very civilized hour. It finished about 10 past 10. So, I was back by just after midnight. Um, but yeah, I can't recommend it highly enough. I really can't.
And the beauty is with us doing this on Sunday, there is slight method in our madness,
Yeah.
is that you still actually have a chance to see it because
Yeah.
it was nearly a bit of a disaster because the gig was this Thursday's gig was booked for the Academy in Manchester, but the Academy then pulled the rug from under them and cancelled the gig from out them.
Yeah.
And this is where we came in slightly with a little bit of a genius idea and a quick message from you as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the gig has been rearranged to a venue in Stoke called the Artisan Tap, which is a lovely music venue. Um, and our friend Scott Evans is just taken over. Scott and Jane Evans have just taken over as landlord and landlady of the Artisan Tap. And a quick message to Scott, put the wheels in motion. So the gig is back on for this coming Thursday. I haven't worked out what day of the week that is. Have you? What
What
day
day of the
that
week
is?
it is?
What
Thursday.
day?
It's
What
Thursday.
date it is? What day it's Thursday? No prep with this at all, folks, as you can tell.
Jot some fingers up because what's today?
Thursday, the 24th of October.
There you go.
So yeah, that's if you can get to that, please support it. Artisan Tap is a new venture for Scott and Jane, but it's an established music venue. And we'd love you to support the Candacraig guys because it is such a good show. It really is. It's different from Marillion. It's a different take on it. Please, if you can make it, please go.
Oh, well, we're definitely like advertising today, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
advertising Scott and advertising Candacraig. Hold on, Edwin, if you're watching, look, there we go. Got your t-shirt on.
And public service broadcasting clearly aren't watching, but there's my t-shirt from last night.
So yeah, you've had a bit of a mad week for
I've had a
gigs wise, haven't you?
gig-tastic
Has,
week, yeah.
has Leslie seen you at all this week or not?
I've just met her again downstairs. Yeah. No, Tuesday was Steve Hackett with the Genesis Revisited Lamb Show in York, which was brilliant as always. Craig Blundell in the band as well as the usual suspects. But that was fantastic. Huge chunk of the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. A fair old portion of Selling England by the Pound as well, and a Hackett set as well. Really good. Really good. Sold out gig in York at the Barbican, which again is another brilliant venue.
I
Uh,
like the Barbican. I've only been a couple of times, but I think it's a nice venue.
it is. It's great. We're really lucky to have it in York. Thursday was Candacraig in Lincoln, as we've just talked about. And then last night I went to the O2 Academy in Leeds to see public service broadcasting with Mark Owens, our friend from Wales. That was stunning. Absolutely stunning gig. I know a lot of our friends are seeing public service broadcasting on the tour. This is only about the fifth date last night, so they're very early into the dates. I know some folks are seeing them in Aylesbury and at other gigs on the tour, but again, highly recommended. If you don't know public service broadcasting, I would recommend the Race for
Race
Space
for
album.
Space, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a corking album. I haven't played it in ages. I really need to dig it out again.
yeah. They played big sections of that last night, which was great.
Well, it's one of the. Well, it was the first album, wasn't it? Was it
Second, second album.
second? So yeah, me and Fog, come on.
Yeah, no, second album.
Yeah.
But yes, if you get a chance to go again, please support it. What else
You
is
know
going
what?
on in Planet Marzipan World?
Well, today in Marillo history is the birthday of Happiness is the Road,
Oh yeah, 2008.
where 2008, yeah, and just where we stole the name from. Oops. Yeah, so that makes you feel bloody old because it just feels like 2 minutes ago. I remember seeing that the first gig on the tour is me and Mark went up to Inverness, furthest north I've ever been for the gig before I went out to Glasgow. That was
Yeah.
cracking. It was a bit of an odd gig, but that's going back in time. But yeah, so what's up and coming? What has Lucy announced this week?
Well, she hasn't announced it. She's
I
trailed that
should mention it.
they're going to announce it. The part two of the Port Zealand weekend, the Friday night, uh, the Friday night set and the second half of Sunday
For
night,
Sunday night, yeah.
is due to be announced. I think in the next week or so. As I understand it, and please don't quote me on this, there's a two CD from Friday night, a two CD from Saturday night, and a two CD from Sunday night, and then there's the Blu-ray which has got Friday night and second half of Sunday on. So if you've got part one, you'll know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, that makes no sense at all.
And your bank manager's going to start crying because there's like more money going out the door.
Just before Christmas, yeah.
Well,
Uh,
it's a perfect Christmas presents and all that kind of stuff.
and then as I think we've already talked about it on the podcast, the This Strange Engine deluxe version is due out on the 22nd of November.
Something like that. But fingers crossed that they've got no space in the warehouse when the delivery comes from Adele and they just shove it all out of the post as soon as possible. Thank you very
Well,
much.
we'll see, we'll see. But
Because
again,
I mean, if you listen at the streaming services, the remix of Man of a Thousand Faces is corking. So
yeah,
really looking forward to that package and really looking forward to seeing the documentary and everything like that. Should be
yeah.
absolute stormer.
And Rothers has finished his Rothery band gigs for this year. But Mr. H is just about to launch into his Christmas selection where he does H natural in Liverpool and Oxford. And I think he's doing trading boundaries again, isn't he? I'm sure Mike
Yeah.
Barton will correct me if he's not.
And still Marillion are doing trading boundaries as well.
Yes, is
Is it
that this
next?
year? It is,
I
isn't
think it
it?
might be. I think it might be. Is it this year? Or is it the new year?
I can't remember.
Nah, Martin will tell us.
I
Martin will
can't
tell us.
remember.
So, what have we got coming up in the next 4 or 5 weeks?
What have we got coming up? Well, we have got, I think I've trailed it as a month of fear, which is a little bit incorrect, but we've got the next 2 weeks' episodes are a roundtable review of Fear, and why I call it Fear is included in that podcast. And then following that, we've got 2 weeks where we look at All One Tonight and Marillion's first gig at the Royal Albert Hall.
So the
With
first
part
episode
one,
of that, yeah,
part one is a management take on the gig and a band take on the gig
yes,
at the
that's
end.
a
And then
corker.
part two is the fans' view of that outstanding first gig at the Royal Albert Hall.
But we haven't recorded that yet, so that's actually
No,
tomorrow
we're
night.
recording that on Monday, but that it'll happen. It'll happen
They'll be
for
fine.
it'll happen.
And then
And
after that,
we've another Planet Marzipan meet in the bag. This one's been eagerly awaited.
oh yes,
With who
yes,
is it?
yes.
Who's it, Craig?
Phil Brown.
Yes, Phil Brown.
Oh, he's
Um,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
yeah, great. We had a great chat with Phil, as you'd expect. Um, but that one will be coming up probably towards the end of November, early December. We are hoping to include reviews of the TSE box and Port Zealand Part 2, and then our review of the year. And that probably takes us up to the end of the year, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like where the hell's 2024 gone?
Yeah, yeah. But
And if we've got more times, we might do some more little episodes like this. We'll see. Time and tide and all that.
well, if this has been any good, let us know. You do get to see the environment that we record this in. Craig's in his front room. I'm in a little bedroom at the top of the house.
And it's absolutely bizarre because I think for the first time, we considering this as a video episode, we've got no cat's asses. What's
No
going on?
cats, I know.
There's no Izzy and no Pepper. They've not
No.
bothered.
Normally, Craig's got a cat wrapped around him, like a Bond villain almost.
Yeah.
But not this time. But yeah, just a quick update. If you can support the Candacraig gig in Stoke, please do.
We'll put details.
Craig will put details because he's sorting this out this time. And Tuesday's upcoming episode is Fear Part 1. And we'd love to know your thoughts on it because there's some quite contentious comments in there, I'll warn you.
Yeah. Remember, present that at planetmarzipan@gmail.com. You'll know when you see the episode.
Yeah, you know when you've heard it. Anyway, all that remains to be said is it's good night from me.
And good afternoon from him.
Take care.
And stay alive.
Yay!
Yay!